And because city is the creation of man, anything wonderful in the city is also a creation of man. You may see big bridges, you may see tall skyscrapers, you may see something which is very surprising. But what is the source of all of that? The source of all of that is the human intelligence. One advantage of going out of the city and going into a natural place is that whatever you see there, whether it is beautiful, whether it is astonishing, whether it is surprising, everything there is a creation of God. One limitation of moving around in the city is you cannot see the creation of God, except you can see the sky and you can see the sun and the moon. But the sun and the moon is also very rarely seen in the cities. But when you go into the non-urban setting, you can see mountains, you can see the streams of water flowing, you can see waterfalls, you can see the clouds. So all that reminds you about the power of God. And that's why on a regular basis, actually sadhakas, they should go out of the city. They should move themselves from the creation of God to creation of man to creation of God. Uh, I think it is the 20th chapter, if I'm not wrong. But 10th canto, 20th chapter is Vrindavan in the autumn season. And the whole chapter is full of analogies that Shukdev Goswami uses from the nature in Vrindavan and teaches such beautiful lessons to the sadhakas. So all this is possible only in the natural setting, in the city setting. It is all about the human ego and how the human ego it grows, 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 and it tries to compete with basically God's power. So one advantage of moving outside the city is there is no human ego possible. When you look at the mountains, all you can do is just become humble. So that's the advantage, and I'm really missing all of you there. But we'll go ahead. So today, what we'll do is we'll discuss from the life of Hanumanji. Hanumanji has always been a source of inspiration for all the sadhakas. His physical power, his intellectual power, his determination, his chastity, his service attitude. Actually, whatever you look forward to in your own life, you will see it in the character of Hanumanji. And I know some people, they are not connected to ISKCON, but they have almost the entire Sundarkand by heart. And Sundarkand is one of the sections of Valmiki Ramayana. And why is it called Sundarkand? It does not describe the beauty of Ram. It does not describe the beauty of Sita, but it describes the wonderful character, the beautiful character of Hanumanji. The Sundarkand of Valmiki Ramayana starts with Hanumanji jumping towards Lanka, landing in Lanka, fighting in Lanka, and then returning back to Lord Ramchandra. That is the whole Sundarkand. So you will see that there is no physical beauty in Sundarkand being described. The only physical beauty that is described in Sundarkand is the beauty of the kidnapped girls in Lanka. But obviously, Valmiki ji is never going to dedicate the name of one entire section of the Bhagavatam to the beauty of those females. So, what is Sundar in Sundarkand? The Sundar in Sundarkand is the beautiful character of Hanumanji. And that's why Sundarkand is, there are so many people who have the entire Sundarkand by heart. And many Marwadi people will organize Sundarkand Katha also because they are really dedicated to Hanumanji. So today we'll discuss about Hanumanji's struggle when he decided to go to Lanka. So when they are looking at the ocean in front and they are thinking now what will happen, how will we go across? Because Sampati has already mentioned that yes, Sita Devi is definitely there in Lanka. She is there on the other side. So there is a discussion there. Who can jump across? So somebody says, I can jump across 10 yojanas. That's not enough. Somebody says 20, somebody says 30, 40. There is one person there, Angad. He's the son of Vali. He's young. He says, I can jump across 80 yojanas. That is the distance between India and Lanka. I can jump across 80 yojanas, but I don't think whether I will come back. So then what is the use? So some of them are incapable and some of them are unsure whether they can return back. In such a situation, there is one old rickshaw. Rickshaw is sometimes translated as a bear. Riksharaj Jambavan is there, and Jambavan looks at Hanumanji. Hanumanji is not even saying anything. He says, Hanuman, do you remember in your childhood days you had great power? And then he starts reminding Hanumanji of his childhood days. Actually, Hanumanji had so much power, but he was a little bit notorious for troubling the sages. And some of the sages had cursed Hanumanji that he will forget whatever power he has. And that's why Hanumanji in this situation is not able to mention that he has a lot of power to jump across. But the curse was that if somebody reminds Hanumanji, then he will get back all his power. And when Jambavan reminds Hanumanji, Jambavan reminds him that he can jump across. So many times in our life, we may also have hidden powers, but all it takes is somebody who can see the potential in us and somebody who can remind us about that. So we see Jambavan himself did not jump across. And after this incident, we don't even see Jambavan having a lot of credit. Not that every time they give credit to Jambavan. Basically, Jambavan reminds Hanuman, and then Hanuman jumps, and then Hanuman is almost the second biggest hero of Ramayana. So Jambavan never became a big hero like Hanumanji, but yes, he reminded Hanumanji, and in one sense, he took one step back, and in a humble situation, he empowered somebody. So a teacher is like that. A teacher himself very rarely becomes famous, but a teacher teaches so many students about the right things, and he ignites the potential of the rocket of a disciple, the rocket of a student. And that rocket can travel long distance, that rocket can do many amazing things. But basically, the rocket cannot self ignite. There has to be somebody who ignites the rocket. And Jambavan is like that. So, first thing to learn for all of us is that all of us may require somebody to see the potential in us, to remind us about what we are, and then launch us on a trajectory to success. So this is the first lesson that we can learn. Now, after Jambavan reminded of Hanumanji, Hanumanji looked at the huge ocean in front of him, and definitely it requires great courage to jump across the ocean. And one thing that was mentioned by some of the acharyas who were commenting on Ramayana is actually why was the ring given to Hanuman? Because till this point, Hanuman is not the person who can jump across. It is only when Jambavan reminded him. Actually, it is mentioned that Hanuman was himself a brahmachari, and sometimes he would get a thought in his mind. Is Sita Devi so great that Lord Ramchandra has almost stopped eating and is so very much depressed whenever he thinks about Sita Devi? Is Sita Devi so great? What is so great in Sita Devi that my Lord Ramchandra finds himself incomplete? Because Hanumanji was a brahmachari, he could not understand the prema, the affection, the madhurya ras, the dasya ras person was not able to understand the madhurya ras relationship between Sita Devi and Lord Ramchandra. And that's why, even though Hanumanji was not somebody who could proven jump across, but still Lord Ramchandra gave that ring only to Hanumanji because he knew that at one point of time Hanumanji would be able to jump across and Hanumanji would meet Sita Devi to hand over the ring. And when he meets Sita Devi, he will come across the highest level of bhakti that Sita Devi has. In the Bhagavatam also, there is a situation where Krishna left Vrindavan and he wanted to give a message to the gopis and he chose a particular person, Uddhav. Uddhav was very close to Krishna. Uddhav is almost Krishnamay, His body looks like Krishna. He would wear only the Mahaprasad garments of Krishna. The garland that he would wear around his neck would also be Mahaprasad of Krishna. Basically, everything about Uddhav is as close as Krishna as it can get, most trustworthy. And when Krishna chose Uddhav to give that letter to the gopis, it is mentioned that for some time Uddhav felt that he's the chosen one and he's a very fortunate person. And he thought, just look at me. Krishna has chosen me because I'm a very special person, and now I'll give that letter to the gopis. But he went, and when he met the gopis, he understood that actually the gopis are the most intimately united with Krishna. So why did Krishna choose Uddhav to carry the letter? It was not to teach gopis philosophical knowledge that Krishna is the Paramatma in the heart and all that. It was to teach Uddhav bhakti science. Uddhav, it is mentioned, had a little bit inclination towards jnana. He had a lot of pride in himself. I am the special friend of Krishna, and Krishna has chosen me to give the letter to gopis. So it seemed that Uddhav was the chosen one, but actually it was the gopis who were the chosen ones. And by exposing Uddhav to the gopis, actually Krishna elevated Uddhav. Krishna did not elevate the gopis. Similarly, it is not that Hanuman is the chosen one to give that ring to Sita Devi. It is actually Sita Devi who is deeply absorbed in the remembrance of Lord Ram. And Hanumanji got educated in the science of pure bhakti by coming across the beautiful darshan of Sita Devi. So Hanumanji basically, to do all this, he's looking at the ocean and that ocean is huge. How will he cross over the ocean? He does not have any pride in himself, even after Jambavan reminds him about his childlike powers during his childhood. What did Hanumanji do during his childhood when he was a small child? He looked at the sun in the sky and he thought it's like an orange and he jumped across to swallow the sun. That was the power of Hanumanji. We know the rest of the story. Indra hit him with a thunderbolt and it touched him on his chin. And chin is called Hanvati, right? In Marathi also it's called Hanvati. So somebody who was struck here is called Hanuman. Hmm? So that Hanuman, now when he's reminded by Jambavan, he's not proud. And he's looking at the ocean. And for crossing over the ocean, he first prays to Surya Dev. He prays to Indra Dev. He prays to Lord Brahma. And then he turns towards the eastern direction. And then he takes blessings of Vayu Dev. And then, after taking blessings from all these devatas, then he turns himself to the southern direction. And then on Mahendra Parvat, he's there on top. He's sitting on his four legs, two hands and two legs. And his tail is up like this. And now he's looking at Lanka and he wants to jump across. And the Ramayana mentions a very beautiful shloka. Ramayana mentions, Yatha Raghava Nirmuktaha Sharashwasana Vikramaha Gachet Tadvad Gamishami Lankam Ravana Palitam. Saying just like an arrow of Ram. Shara, Shvasana Vikramaha. As soon as the Shara, the arrow of Lord Ram is shot, it just goes straight and it pierces the target. Similarly, I am also like an arrow that has been shot by Lord Ramchandra. I am going to go to Lanka. Lankam, Ravana Palitam. I am going to go to Lanka and just see. I will find out Sita. If I don't find Sita there, I will go to the heavens. I will go to the entire Brahmand and I will try to find Sita. And if I am not able to find Sita in Lanka and the entire Brahmand, I'll again come back to Lanka. I will bind Ravan like a animal and along with all the demons in Lanka, I will bring them in front of Lord Ramchandra to be punished. So with this kind of an attitude, indomitable. I am not going to be conquered by anybody. This is the attitude that Hanumanji had when he was looking at the ocean, the unlimited ocean, and he does not have anything with him, nothing special, no special powers, and he wants to jump. It is mentioned he put so much pressure on the mountain that there were some small cracks. and there were some small crevices in the mountain because of the pressure. hmm, some some snakes and all that were there in the mountain, they felt pressure and they immediately came out of, otherwise they would have been crushed. And there was some gold and iron and silver ore in the mountain, and because there was so much pressure from Hanumanji because he wants to jump, all that gold and all it came out, and the snakes were so angry that they were biting the stones of the mountain, and because of the poison of the snakes it actually caught fire also. And in this way, armed by the blessings of the devatas and all the Vanaras also, instead of becoming envious of Hanumanji, because they understood we can't do this, we can't jump across, and Hanuman can. Actually, all the Vanaras were praying for Hanumanji's successful journey in the service of Lord Ram. So, what is the lesson for all of us? The next lesson for all of us is in our life also, sometimes we may come across the unlimited ocean of bad habits. We may come across the unlimited ocean of dissatisfaction in our own sadhana. Can I ever chant the holy names nicely? Can I ever follow the four regulative principles strictly? But when Hanumanji was looking at the big ocean, he was not depending on his own strength. Actually, he was sincerely praying to the devatas, and he was sincerely praying to Vayudev, and he was dependent on the blessings of the other Vanaras. So the more we recognize that our strength in spiritual life is not on what we do and what we know. Our strength in spiritual life is whom we have taken shelter of. If we realize the Guru Shishya Parampara, where we have taken shelter of in the line of Srila Prabhupada, in the line of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, in the line of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Rupa Goswami, Jeev Goswami, when we understand our connection with our forefathers, then we understand there are so many blessings that are coming on us. And we should always behave in such a way that the Vanaras around us in Lord Ram's army are always praying for us. But if we misbehave with our devotees, if we misbehave with our co devotees, then some of them may not really be praying for us. And that little shortage of blessings and good wishes from some nice Vaishnav may be the cause why we are failing in trying to cross over the unlimited ocean of dissatisfaction or the unlimited ocean of bad habits, bad thoughts, bad samskaras that we are fighting with. So we should eagerly look forward to blessings of the past acharyas and the good wishes of devotees around us. So Hanumanji, dependent on this, armed with this, he flew off. And when he flew off, it is mentioned so much force with which Hanumanji jumped. Jai Shri Ram! And after he chanted like that, he jumped off. There were so many creepers and so many flowers that were there on Mahendra Parvat. They also flew for some distance behind Hanumanji. And that whole sight is described in a very beautiful way by Valmiki Rishi. He says it looked like some Viman is going, it looked like some comet is going, and behind the comet there is some tail. So it looked like that. And he also says sometimes a relative comes to somebody's home, a grihastha's home, and when the relative wants to go back, then the grihastha will go some distance to leave him, to bid him goodbye. And sometimes the king is traveling to some neighboring country, and the soldiers of the king will travel to some distance from the palace to bid farewell to the king. And also, the third example that he gives is sometimes the guru is traveling to some another monastery, and the disciples of the guru, they will come some distance to bid farewell to the guru. Sometimes we can see the third example happening in our temple. So Valmiki Rishi gives these three examples, and the commentators they comment that relatives going to bid farewell to a relative is an example of affection. Soldiers going to bid farewell to the king is an example of duty, and the disciples going to bid farewell to the guru is a mixed example. Some disciples they go to bid farewell to the guru out of a sense of duty, but there are some disciples who are following the guru and bid farewell to the guru out of a sense of affection. So in this way, Hanumanji is now flying. Now, the next event that happens is there is one Mainak Parvat there, and that Mainak Parvat is there in the sea. And that Mainak Parvat at one point of time, the Bhagavatam also mentions this, and at all the mountains they had wings. According to Vedic culture, there is nothing that is dead, but it is only a question of how much the body is covered by ignorance. Hmm? Like the human body is the highest in terms of consciousness, and below that is the animals, below that is the birds, below that is the trees, and below that is the fish, is it not? And then below that fish is also the stones. Basically, the avaran, the covering is so thick, it is almost lifeless. Stones don't move, they're almost lifeless. But in the Bhagavatam, whenever Sthavar is called, Sthavara does not refer to the stones, Sthavar also refers to the trees because trees also don't move. So it's not that anything that does not move does not have life because trees don't move, but trees have life. So according to Vedic culture, actually the mountains also have life, but at one point of time they would fly with wings. So they would get up from one place and they would sit at one place, and sometimes they would sit on villages and human settlement. And that is the time when the Manusha Samaj it offered prayers to Indradev, and Indradev with his thunderbolt, he cut off the wings of all the parvats in the universe. Now, at that time, this Mainak Parvat, he was a small little Parvat, and he was really very scared of Indra because Indra will cut off the wings. So that time it is mentioned Vayu, he blew air like that. And when he blew that air, Mainak Parvat was blown away and he went into the sea. And that's how he was saved. So Mainak Parvat is remembering at one point of time, Vayu Dev saved me from my wings getting cut by Indra. So I want to do some seva to the son of Vayu, Hanumanji, like that. So this Mainak Parvat comes up and in a very humble and sincere way, prays to Hanumanji, Hanumanji, you're traveling right now, and before you go ahead and before you do your mission, can you please give me an opportunity to reciprocate with your father's help by resting on me? So he is not discouraging Hanuman to do something. He is not stopping Hanuman from doing anything. All he is doing is an innocent aram, innocent comfort. And all of us can get tempted by this kind of a offer, is it not? We are not stopping you from your journey. We are not stopping you from your seva. We want to give you some additional comfort for your seva. You can sleep here for some time. You can sit here for some time. We may all also receive some of these offers. What did Hanumanji do? See, a gentleman is definitely focused on the sense of duty. He is kartavya nishtha. But a gentleman is also sensitive. Hmm? What is gentleman? Gentleman has maturity, and maturity means he has understood the balance between courage and sensitivity. Hmm? So he wants to go, but he also understands when somebody sincerely offers us some seva, if we, in a rude way, reject it and say, "मुझे नहीं चाहिए आपकी सेवा," that's also not good. Hmm? So what does Hanumanji do? He could have rejected it and earned lot of good name. देखो हनुमान जी कितने sincere हैं. And if Hanumanji would have been sensitive, then he would have rested there, but then that would have delayed his mission. A sincere sadhaka is not neglectful of his duty, but he is also not neglectful of Vaishnav etiquette. So what does Hanumanji do? Hanumanji does not reject it and does not accept it. He touches the Mainak Parvat and says, I accepted your seva, but I am on a mission right now. I cannot take rest right now. I need to go. So a sincere Vaishnava never ever insults anybody when that person is offering him some seva, but he will never accept that seva if it is causing delay in accomplishment of that seva. Mission is first, seva is first, and sensitivity is also first. So how to balance that is maturity and that we need to understand. So Hanumanji is thinking Sugriv has sent the southern search party, and the northern, eastern, and western search party had already returned, and they had mentioned that sorry, but we could not find Sita Devi. So Sugriv had lot of hopes only from the southern party, and each day counts, and each hour counts, and each minute counts. So sometimes we are also given some seva, and we think that yeah, we can do seva at our own pace and we can do seva at our own rate, but we should be really very careful to never ever cause anxiety to our superiors. When we are given seva, we should be really very sincerely doing our seva. So Hanumanji, in a very nice balance of sensitivity and focus on the mission, he touches and goes ahead. There is a very beautiful story in the life of Srila Prabhupada. He had some of his disciples, and Prabhupada went to a nightclub one time because he had received an invitation to chant the holy names in a nightclub. And, on the return journey, he mentioned how he went there. And some of them, the young boys, they said, Prabhupada, can we also go to nightclubs to go and chant Kirtan there? And Prabhupada said, you can go, but make sure that you come back. Because Prabhupada understood most of them, they were young boys and they may not come back from the nightclubs. So sometimes good comforts, hmm, good sometimes gadgets and good facilities that are offered to us by sincere friends for seva can be a distraction to us. Hmm. अरे प्रभु जी, ये नया फोन है, इसमें आप बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं, आपको प्रीचिंग के लिए काम में आएगा. एंड वी थिंक युक्त वैराग्य is very important. Rup Goswami, I should honor, and we take that gadget, and that gadget becomes the source of our distraction, and distraction leads sometimes to destruction, and our sadhana is gone playing with our gadgets. And why did we accept that gadget? We accepted gadget because we wanted to search Veda base on the gadget. We wanted to hear Prabhupada's lectures on YouTube. But instead of Prabhupada's lectures on YouTube, we heard so many other things on YouTube. So we need to learn from Hanumanji how to never ever get distracted and how to never ever also become insensitive. Hmm. So Mainak Parvat represents Sattvic distractions. Hmm. Sattva guna, there is no competitiveness, there is no harm, it's only a good facility. अरे अच्छी बात है, थोड़ा रेस्ट ले लेंगे, रेस्ट लेके सेवा करेंगे. But no, for Hanuman ji, even the sattvic distractions are not affordable, and he goes ahead. Next, he comes across some kind of a snake goddess or something. She's the mother of all the Nagas, and her name is Surasa. And the Surasa, she says, actually, anybody on the path, this path, has to become my food. You have to enter my mouth. Without entering my mouth, you cannot go. So Hanumanji again folds his hands and says, please allow me to go. I am on a mission. And maybe on the return journey, I can do what you say. But right now, I can't do what you are saying. I have to go. So she says, no way. You have to become my food. You have to enter my mouth. So Hanumanji now thinks what to do, what to do. So he increases his size to 10 yojanas. Surasa, interestingly, also has magical powers. So her mouth increases to 20 yojanas. Hanumanji increases his size to 30 yojanas. Surasa increases her mouth size to 40 yojanas. And this whole drama goes on till 100 yojanas. So now Surasa's mouth is 110 yojanas waiting for Hanumanji to get devoured in his mouth. And Hanumanji is thinking, how long will this competitive spirit go on? Main bada ki tu bada. And what is happening in this whole thing? The mission is not getting solved. So Hanumanji uses his intelligence. In the Hanuman Chalisa, our Tulsidas ji, he says, Vidyavan guni ati chatur Ram kaj koribe ko atur. So what is mentioned? Vidyavan, guni, but he's ati chatur. चतुर है ये. कैसे चतुर है? क्यों चतुर है? Ram kaj karibe ko atur. Hmm? His chaturta is not to cheat anybody. His chaturta is he wants to be atur to do Ram kaj. He wants to serve Ram. So Hanumanji comes up with a yukti. He becomes very small. He becomes the size of a fly. He immediately goes inside the mouth and comes out. And Surasa is unable to understand where did Hanuman go? And Hanuman goes inside, comes out, and says, see, you told me I need to go inside your mouth. I went inside your mouth, and now I have come out. Surasa is so shocked by this sudden change of size. She understands this is possible only by extreme humility. So Hanumanji is not just powerful physically, but is also powerful intellectually, and he's also very, very powerful because his ego is very small. He's always keeping the purpose of Lord Ramchandra in the center. And Surasa is so happy with him. Surasa blesses Hanumanji that may you become successful. So it's very interesting. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, there is one quotation by him. He says, when pride comes, we are already defeated. What follows is a detail. So when we become proud of borrowed plumes, Srila Prabhupada uses this figure of speech in the Bhagavatam purports. Actually, when we come to this world, what do we have? We don't have anything. It is everything given by the Lord. Aham and Mama, both are actually Prakriti. Is it not? The Atma is also Prakriti, and this Bhinna Prakriti Rashtada is also Prakriti. Actually, we are ourselves on loan. Not that we have taken this body on loan, not that we have taken this material world on loan. We ourselves are on loan. We ourselves are dependent on Krishna. But we have our own reasons of becoming proud. मैं तो बड़ा हूँ. In my school I got these many marks, and I have this much property, I have this much wealth. Sometimes we may think that we are very smart, and all of us have our own borrowed plumes, feathers. But Hanumanji has so much. Hanumanji never became, and he became humble. And Surasa basically represents a competitive spirit in us. When we want to compete and we want to show who is greater, instead of focusing on the person whom we are serving is greater than us, we start competing with other people. So we have to be very careful. One of our brahmacharis, he wanted to go to America for preaching, and he went to the visa office, and he went with a business visa application. So these people, they understood there's something wrong because they saw some tilak marks on this brahmachari's forehead. So they, why do you want to go? So he said, because I'm an IITian, so I want to do some business related discussions there. They rejected his visa. Then next time he went in brahmachari dress with tilak and all that. Then said, why do you want to go to USA? So he said, I want to go there and preach. Then they again rejected their visa. Now, third time is the last time. Third time, if your visa gets rejected, you can never go to US. So third time he went, and he was thinking, I need to go to America because Guru Maharaj wants me to go to America because there was a need at that time. So what to do, what to do? So then third time they asked him, why do you want to go to USA? He says, actually, my Guru Maharaj has, asked me to go to America and to help him with the preaching there. And please allow me to go there so that I can assist my Guru Maharaj. Just the simple humility of that brahmachari got that visa. He went to America. Of course, he returned back after some time, but the reasons were different. My point is, when he showed off that he's an IITian and he wants to do big things in America, he was rejected. When he said that I'm a big brahmachari and I want to do a lot of preaching in America, his visa was rejected. When he became humble and said, actually, I want to go to America to fulfill the order of my spiritual master, that is the time when he got the visa. So then he realized humility is not important just in spiritual life, but humility is also important even in material life. So many times we forget that proving is not as important as progressing. So we may not have to actually prove how special we are, but we should actually keep progressing, and we should really be open to becoming humble. So we have to choose our battles wisely, not that everything is worthy of our attention. We are finite beings with finite energy, with finite resources. And most important of all, we have finite time in this world. This body, when it will crash, this body, when it will get diseased, when things will go wrong, we have no idea. Some of us may have a lot of pride in our health, but when disease comes, you just have to become humble, and all of us are aware how, in a diseased condition, our sadhana goes for a complete toss. It's basically a number game to finish our sadhana. What to speak of, the strange thoughts that come inside, and lot of things that happen. So we should never ever take the resources and the facilities that Krishna has given us for sadhana lightly. And within the finite time that we have in this body, we should never ever waste a single moment in trying to serve Krishna and the devotees. So it's very important to always be humble and never become affected by competitive spirit. Next, when Hanumanji is going, suddenly he realizes he's not able to travel. Hmm? बीच में रुक गए, ऐसे बीच में ही अटक गए, तो क्या हो गया, क्या हो गया, नीचे देखते हैं. So there is some kind of a demoness. She's not exactly a snake, but she looks very strange, and she has caught the shadow of Hanumanji on the water of the ocean. And then Hanumanji remembers when he was going in the southern direction, then that time our Sugriv had told him, because Sugriv had traveled all over the world because Vali wanted to kill him. So Sugriv told him, in the southern direction there is somebody called Chaya Grahi. Hmm? The name was not mentioned, but was Chaya Grahi means she catches, grahan karti hai, the shadow of a person. So be careful. Hmm? So who was this Chaya Grahi? Her name was Simhika. Actually, if you read the seventh canto of the Bhagavatam, then you will see how Kayadu and Hiranyakashipu, they had four sons and one daughter. Samlad, Anulad, Lahad, and Prahlad. These are the four sons of Hiranyakashipu, and the daughter is Simhika. Hmm? And Simhika's eldest son is Rahu. Hmm? So that is that glorious family of Hiranyakashipu and Rahu and all that. So this Simhika was there in the ocean, and she was Chayagrahi. So she mentioned to Hanumanji, you have to be prepared to now get killed because I want to eat you and I'll not allow you to go ahead. And she, with her power, Hanumanji was high up in the sky, but she started pulling Hanumanji and she kept her mouth open. Now, just some time back, a similar incident has happened, but Hanumanji did not even get a thought of killing, right? Hanumanji decided to minimize his size and escape. This time, when Hanumanji saw, she caught hold of my shadow and she is trying to swallow me. Hanumanji decided, बहुत हो गया है. Hanumanji allowed himself to go into the mouth of Simhika. He went into the stomach of Simhika and ripped open the stomach of Simhika and came out, and Simhika, she died and she submerged in the ocean. She was killed by Hanumanji. Jai Hanumanji ki jai. So His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, he explains what is the Simhika. Simhika is basically a representative of envy. Hmm? So Mainak Parvat was sattvic distractions. Hmm? Surasa was Rajasic distraction because she is in a competitive spirit. And Simika is Tamasic. Why Simika is Tamasic? Somebody has unmuted, please mute. So Simika is representing envy and Simika is representing Tamasic. Why? Like this? Because Maharaj mentioned all of us have some limitations and all of us have some dark side. All of us have some small spots, some faults in us. What does an envious person do? Envious person, instead of looking at the good things that a person is doing, envious person catches on to the faults, the small little faults that all of us have. And he tries to catch on to the faults. And with the help of catching on to the faults of a person, he tries to pull down the character of the person. He tries to pull down the reputation of the person. Is it not? Is this not what gossiping is based on? Is this not what popular things? The whole Twitter, the whole Facebook is all full of this gossiping. Some famous person, he sometimes speak something and some words come out immediately, they'll make a video clip out of it and they'll make it viral. Can you please think in your own hearts of all the clips that become viral on YouTube and Facebook are the clips that speak something constructive and speak some guidance to us? Do those clips become viral, or the clips that catch somebody's mistakes, the clips that catch somebody's faults, they become viral? All of us are aware what is the reality. So when Hanumanji saw that this person has envious nature and she is catching on to my chaya and she wants to kill me, Hanumanji said, zero tolerance policy for envy. एनवी के लिए भक्ति में साधका के जीवन में कोई जगह नहीं है. He decided to rip off the envy. So all of us, we have to look at our own hearts and we have to catch the simhika, the envious nature in our own hearts, and we should have zero tolerance policy for envy in our own hearts. Otherwise, that envy will swallow Bhakta Hanuman that is there in us. So if we see some devotee around us who has sincere love for Krishna, he is sincerely trying to endeavor to please Krishna, and that devotee may have some faults. He may speak in a funny way, he may snore at night, hmm, or he may laugh in a funny way. If we make jokes of that person and if we laugh on that person, we are going to be eaten by the simhika in our hearts. Trying to focus on the faults of devotees, trying to focus on the limitations of devotees, and trying to make a big issue out of it, and trying to prevent the progress of that devotee, trying to bring down the reputation of that devotee. This is pure Simhika nature. Hmm? 9.30 in the Gita is what? Api cheta suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. Sadhur eva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi sa. In that purport, Prabhupada mentions one shloka from Narsimha Puran. What does the shloka say? That shloka says, the marks on the moon do not affect the ability of the moon to give light. Similarly, the faults of a Vaishnava do not affect his ability to spread the bhakti movement around. And Prabhupada quotes this shloka from the Narsimha Puran for all of us. We have to be extremely careful when we are dealing with Vaishnavas, making fun of Vaishnavas, criticizing Vaishnavas, spreading gossip about Vaishnavas is extremely injurious to our spiritual health. After millions of lifetimes, we got human form of life. After having thousands of human form of life, we got into a genuine movement like ISKCON. And now, if we are just little bit uncontrolled with our Vacho Vegam, and with our finger vegam, typing vegam, then we can actually land in big time trouble for ourselves. Krishna will protect that devotee even though he is faulty, but Krishna will not tolerate our biggest fault of criticizing a devotee, even though our chanting may be perfect and this and that. So please never become envious of any devotee. Always try to be humble. And the only way to deal with envy in the heart is zero tolerance policy. Rip off. Hmm? So we have to be very careful. And if we are being attacked by somebody who's envious, never ever retaliate. Pray hard to Krishna and tell Krishna, my dear Krishna, this person is spreading rumors about me, this spreading criticism about me, and his, one or two faults I have, he's blowing up those faults. What should I do? I heard that I should never criticize, so I'm not criticizing. Krishna, because he is seeing the pure emotions, the pure thoughts in your heart, will give you the right understanding by which how to deal with it. But never ever criticize a devotee. So please be aware that even if people are attacking you, people are, spreading things about you. If you pray to Krishna, Krishna will give you the right intelligence to come up. If somebody is criticizing, that does not mean the entire Bhakta Samaj is criticizing. Please always remember this. There will always be some Vaishnavas who will find faults in us, but there will always be some Vaishnavas who are sincerely trying to see the good in us if we are sincere. So all of us have a choice. that we should always be sincere in our sadhana, never ever cut corners in our sadhana. In our seva, we should never ever try to cut corners. If we are sincere, Krishna will lift us up personally or through his servants. You don't have to get affected by small fish that will bite you in the samsara ocean. But Krishna will come on Garuda. He will give you his hand and will pull you to Vaikuntha. So just because you are powerless does not mean that you should become hopeless. Please always be careful and never ever give in to this dirty enemy of envy. So after passing over Mainak, Surasa, and uh, our Simika, Hanumanji finally lands on the land of Lanka. And there he, after now conquering such big things, and he ripped open Simika and all that, he is like a very mighty person. He is almost like an unstoppable. Why is he unstoppable? In the beginning of the class, we heard, I am the arrow of Ram. He is not seeing his greatness as his greatness, he is seeing his greatness as the greatness of the arrow shot by Ram. Jai Shri Ram. That is the power that is behind me. I cannot be stopped. But even after that, when he lands in Lanka, he understands this Lanka is a very, very dangerous place. The Devatas cannot come here. I should be humble. Again, Hanumanji, the great Hanumanji, takes the size of a cat, hmm, and he's moving around. And at that time, there is one female who comes there. She is a demoness. Her name is Lankini. She comes there and says, Who are you? The Devatas cannot come here. Don't you know this is the land of Ravan and you are not allowed here? And Hanumanji just looks at her, and Hanumanji gives her a tight slap, and she rolls down and she falls. He has just now killed Simhika, the mighty Simhika, hmm, the mother of Rahu, who is still there attacking Surya, but he does not want to kill Lankini unnecessarily. He gives her a controlled slap. So she falls, and immediately she wakes up and she remembers, yes, one time Lord Brahma, he had mentioned to me, the city is unconquerable, but one day one monkey will come and he will slap you, Lankini. And when that monkey slaps you, you should understand is the beginning of the end. So she remembers that after that slap and she says, now I understand who you are and I don't think I can stop you. So this Lankini, she sometimes represents the doubts due to opposition. When we are out preaching, it's not that everyone will give us a red carpet welcome. Prabhu ji, आइए थोड़ा हमको भगवत गीता का ज्ञान दीजिए. There will be envious people who will try to destroy your preaching. There will be people, especially in college preaching programs, they spread wrong information about ISKCON. Sometimes, they will say, सबको ये forcibly साधु बनाते हैं, ब्रह्मचारी बनाते हैं, and they do basically, anti-preaching. There will be opposition, there will be anti preaching, there will be many obstacles of different natures. But Hanumanji is focusing on the mission. I have to find out Sita Devi. I have to discover bhakti in my own heart. And that's why he keeps going. So when there are doubts due to opposition, you have to fight. You can't run away. अरे प्रभु जी वो प्रोग्राम में बहुत प्रॉब्लम होता है लोग बहुत they are opposing me. I don't think I can preach. What is the use? Sudama Sudama Vipra Maharaj was preaching in Japan, and there was a lot of opposition. And Sudama Vipra Maharaj wrote a letter to Prabhupada. He said, this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem. And Prabhupada said, it seems you are preaching the message genuinely as it is, because that's why you are facing so many problems. If you preach about sense gratification, there are no problems. People will come in thousands and thousands to hear your seminar. But when you are preaching about ahaituki, apratihata bhakti, then of course there are some obstacles. So, my dear Sudama Vipra Maharaj, I think you are genuinely preaching very nicely and you have my full blessings. And that simple 2, 3 lines from Srila Prabhupada really empowered him. So, we don't have to give more importance to people to whom we are preaching, and we don't have to give much importance to people who oppose our preaching, but we should give more importance to people who are requesting us to preach. We should give more importance to the words of people who are telling us, go and preach, go and preach, go and share the message, go and distribute books. We should not look and give more importance to people who are at the receiving end, but we should give more importance to the people from whom we are receiving. That is very important. Ahead, mm, our Hanumanji, he enters the city and then he sees this massive buildings, this huge decorated buildings. There is so much wealth there, but unfortunately, there is not one nice person there except Vibhishan. Everyone is a demon, and they're all really very strange people. There's a lot of meat eating going on. There is drinking going on. There is foul language being, spoken here and there. And suddenly, Hanumanji, who has conquered all outside enemies, is now hit by one inside enemy. There is negative thinking that comes in, and he looks at this big, huge city where the devatas cannot come, full of mighty Mayavi Rakshasas with lot of power they have, and magical spells they can do, and this and that. And I am alone here, and he thinks, will I be able to deal with this huge city full of Rakshasas? Actually, only four people can cross over. Hmm. I can cross over to Lanka. Sugriv can cross over, but Sugriv is there. Sugriv is not at the southern tip of land. Neela can cross over and Angad can cross over. And how many monkeys were there in the Lord Ram's army? If you write hmm, one on a piece of paper and after that you write 70 zeros, hmm, that is the number of monkeys. So Hanumanji is thinking out of this one followed by 70 zeros. So many monkeys, only four can cross over. What is the chance that the other monkeys can cross over to Lanka to fight with all these big, big Vanaras? I don't think this mission is going to be successful. I don't think it's going to work out. So, if I am not able to locate Sita, then when I go back and I tell Lord Ram, I think Lord Ram will just, you know, I'll tell to Sugriv. Sugriv will commit suicide because Sugriv promised to Ram, I will help you. When Sugriv commits suicide and I tell Sita is not to be found, Ram will commit suicide. When Ram commits suicide, then Lakshman will also commit suicide. When Ram and Lakshman commit suicide, then Bharat Maharaj will say, what is the use of my life? Bharat Maharaj will commit suicide. When the king of Ayodhya commits suicide, then all the Ayodhya Vasis will also be committing suicide. And who is the cause of all these suicides? He says, I am the cause of all these suicides. And suddenly he thinks, wait, take a minute. Why did I go into such a long thought process of negativity and suicides? What if everything works out? What if, just like so many obstacles came into my life on my journey here till now, but I conquered over them? And there were different ways. Mainak was conquered in different ways. Surasa was conquered in different ways. Simika was conquered in different ways. It means I seem to have the ability to conquer over different obstacles. It is not that I conquered all the obstacles in the same way. तो अभी तक अगर भगवान ने मुझे मदद की है तो इसके आगे भी भगवान मदद करेंगे. The person who brought me till this point of time without a scratch on my body, why will he abandon me in the middle of the path? Why will he not escort me on the path ahead also? And suddenly he paused himself and he stopped the downward spiral of negativity. So all of us should understand we may be great, big, huge people, great preachers and great managers and great this and that, but negativity can hit us anytime. After crossing the oceans of problems, we can possibly drown in a small puddle of self-induced negativity. Hmm? So we have to be very careful. We should never become victims of negativity. We should always be positive. But who will be positive? Who has hopes on the Lord's blessings, the Acharya's blessings? They can never go in vain. I am a fool number one, but does not matter. The blessings are very powerful. The car is very important, but if the best car does not have fuel inside it, will the BMW car move? Will the Mercedes Benz Audi car move? तो बड़े बड़े कार होने से फायदा नहीं है, उसमें पेट्रोल होना चाहिए. So the fuel for spiritual life is the blessings of the senior devotees, the blessings of Guru Varga. If a Maruti car, second hand Maruti car has petrol, it can travel. But a BMW 7 Series without any fuel cannot travel. So don't worry so much about the model of the car. Hmm. I am pure, I am not pure. I have conquered anger, I have not conquered anger. Don't worry much about that. Focus more on taking the Vapu and Vani Sangha of the Guru Varga. And when you have the right fuel, then you can travel long distance. So, whenever negativity hits us, don't focus on the present, focus on the past. If the spiritual master, Diksha and the Shiksha Gurus have brought us till here, if we continue to fill the fuel of their blessings in the future also, then the journey will go on. But many times, when we become so called senior, then we no longer want the fuel of blessings of senior devotees because now we have ourselves become senior. जब तक हम लोग जूनियर थे तभी तक सीनियर डिवोटीज के सामने जाते थे बोलते थे प्रभु जी थोड़ा बताइए महाराज थोड़ा बताइए बट जब हम सीनियर हो जाते हैं तो हम सोचते हैं अभी तो हम इक्वल हो गए अभी किसके नीचे झुकना है so that is where the trouble starts. So we have to be very careful. Then he went ahead. He said, no, 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 I'll do, I'll find out. Then he went to all the palaces in Lanka. And in the palaces, what did he see? In the palaces, he saw all the beautiful girls. Some of them were Raj Kanya. They were daughters of king. Some of them were Rishi Kanya. Some of they were the daughters of great great rishis. And some of them were Deva Kanya. Some of them were daughters of the big big devatas. And anybody and everybody who was beautiful in the entire universe. What was the formula of Ravan? There was only one formula of Ravan. Ravan was saying, if she's beautiful, she's meant for me. So he had kidnapped all the beautiful women only for one purpose, to for his own sense gratification. And Hanumanji is in the palace, and just like in Radha Gopinath temple, there is a jharokha on top. There are these windows, and people on the bottom don't know that they are being watched. But there are some people in the jharokas who keep watching down. So Hanumanji, in a small cat shape, is there, and from the jharokas is looking at all the females. There are palaces after palaces after palaces, and every single female is highest beautiful. And if she's not highest beautiful, she will not be there in Lanka. And Hanumanji is closely looking at their beauty and trying to check if she is Mother Sita. Some of them are happy, some of them are dancing, some of them are drunk, some of them are sleeping. And Hanumanji understands she cannot be Sita. Sita cannot be happy. Sita must be also crying and Sita must be in deep pain. And then suddenly, the next obstacle hits Hanumanji. What is this obstacle? He gets a doubt. He gets a self doubt. What is self doubt? Am I doing the right thing? I am a brahmachari. Brahmachari is not even supposed to think of a female. Why am I looking at the beautiful faces of all these beautiful females? I don't think I'm doing the right thing. I should not be doing this. And then he stops for some time. And Valmiki Rishi he describes his own thought process. Kamam drishtva maya sarva vishwasta ravana striya na tu me manasah kinchit vaikrutyam upapadyate. He says, but one interesting thing is Kamam drishtva maya sarva. I'm looking at all these females with a desire to find out is she Sita, is she Sita, is she Sita. But natu me manasah kinchit vaikrutyam upapadya. Vaikrutyam is a transformation of the root word vikruti. Vikruti means transform in a wrong way. One interesting thing is, although I'm looking at females, a brahmachari is looking at females, but there is no dirty feelings, there is no dirty change in my heart. Why is it like that? So he's thinking, why is it like this? So he's thinking to himself, if I'm searching for a deer, will I search for the deer in a city or will I search for a deer in the jungle? So he answers himself, I will search for a deer in the jungle. So now, if I'm searching for a female, will I search for a female in the palace of the females Or should I search for a female in the jungle? Obviously, I'll search for the palace of females. So it tells, it's very interesting that although I am searching for Mother Sita, she's like a mother, and I have to search for a female in the palace of females, and I'm looking at every beautiful female. But because my intention is pure, I am not looking at these females with a desire to enjoy their beauty. I am looking at their females because I'm searching for my mother. So that purity is saving me. Hmm? So, fifth chapter, I think 10th shloka or ninth shloka is that famous shloka that the lotus leaf, hmm, Padma Patra Ivam Basa. Lord Krishna gives an example. The lotus stays in the mud but is never affected by the mud. All of us are aware how Akrura hmm, came to take Krishna and Balram from Vrindavan. So why was Akrura chosen? Because Akrura was extremely pure personality. So if Akrura was extremely pure personality, what was he doing as a minister of Kamsa? Actually, he's seeing the atrocities of Kamsa. Many gentlemen they left Mathura and they shifted. Hmm? So some of them went as far as Europe. Hmm? And you can read the purports of Prabhupada who says that so many, the Andhaka dynasty, the Kukkura dynasty, the Vrishni dynasty, and all these dynasties, they left Mathura because of the atrocities of Kamsa, the attitude of Kamsa. But Akrura felt, I have heard the Akashvani that the eighth child of Devaki will kill Kamsa. So I want to take darshan of the Supreme Lord. Because he is a devotee, he wants to take darshan of the Supreme Lord. And he knew the Supreme Lord will come and kill Kamsa. So if I am close to Kamsa, then I will get to see the beautiful form of the Lord. The only reason why Akrura never left Kamsa's association is because of the pure desire to take the darshan of the Lord. He never participated in the activities and the mood of Kamsa, but he tolerated being in the mud of Kamsa's thoughts and Kamsa's association with the lotus like intention of one day receiving the darshan of Krishna. So that is what received reciprocation from Krishna, that of all the ministers, Kamsa chose Akrura to go to Vrindavan and receive the first darshan of any Mathuravasi of Krishna and Balram. So, this is how we should understand that sometimes in devotional service, we may have to do something that is really not advisable for us and it is dangerous for us. But if for our mission we have to do it, we should be ready to become a lotus in the heart and we should do it. Rather than saying no to the mission and saying, I'm not going to do this, we should do it. But we should be very, very lotus like and we should pray to the spiritual master in the heart, to Srila Prabhupada in the heart, and we should pray to Radha Gopinath in the heart that actually I am not supposed to do this. I know it is dangerous for me to do this, but only because of this particular seva that is given to me with an intention to fulfill the mission. I'm doing this never before and never after. Hmm. Hanumanji looked at females only in that situation in Lanka, never before, never after. Similarly, once in a life, if we are given some dangerous service, and if it is important to do that service, and if we have the blessings of the Guru Varga, we might do it. But remember, it's very, very important to remain always pure and focused on the mission and never to have enjoyment tendency in the heart. And then Krishna will protect. And we might also say, yeah, nahi vaikrutyam upapadyate. My heart never changed, although I'm doing something which I'm not supposed to do. So we have to be very, very careful. Two things. We can do it only for the mission. We should not do it for ourselves. And second, we should not do it always. We can do it maybe once in an emergency situation. If there is nobody else, then we might have to do some things. After that, Hanumanji now goes inside. He goes to Ashok Vatika. After all the palaces, he does not see anywhere Sita Devi in Ashok Vatika. He is still in the shape of a cat and he's behind some leaves and the branches. And then he looks at Sita Devi. I forgot to tell you, In the palace, after searching through all the palaces, he comes across one very, very sattvic face. It's not a Rajasic face, it's a very beautiful face and it's a very sattvic face. And for some time, Hanumanji feels, yeah, this is Sita Devi. Such a beautiful and such a sattvic face. And she's sleeping, she's not enjoying, she's not drunk and all that. And it is mentioned Hanumanji, like a typical Vanar, he takes his tail and he kisses his tail and starts dancing. Mission accomplished, mission accomplished. But then after some time, he sees actually this lady is not crying. This lady is definitely not enjoying, but also not in pain, and she's sleeping peacefully. And then he thinks to himself, Lord Ramchandra is constantly chanting the names of Sita Devi. Lord Ramchandra is constantly crying. I don't think Sita Devi can be not crying. Hmm. So he then understands this must be Mandodari. So Mandodari is one of the seven chaste ladies, like Arundhati and Sati. So she's one of the chaste ladies, although she's chaste to somebody like Ravan, but she's one of the chaste ladies. And that's why her face was, Gandhari, all these are chaste ladies. But she was not crying. So Hanumanji understood. So then he goes to Ashok Vatika from behind the branches. He looks at Sita. It's almost 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It's midnight basically. And suddenly he sees that Sita Devi is constantly crying. She is lean and thin. She has a white sari and she is extremely frail. She has become very weak, but her face is shining. So then he understands this is Sita Devi. And now he's thinking, should I go to her? Should I not go to her? And then suddenly he hears trumpets, pa, 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 like that. And Ravan comes. And Ravan has employed almost 700 Rakshasis to constantly put pressure on Sita Devi to agree to marry Ravan. So Ravan had a curse from Rambha because he one time forcibly, mm, you know, uh, violated her chastity. So Rambha cursed Ravan, if you do this again with any female forcibly, you will die. So Ravan cannot force himself on Sita Devi. This is the reason why he could not touch Sita Devi, not that he had some other very pure intentions. So Ravan, he had employed these 700 Rakshasas to constantly put pressure. These 700 Rakshasas would say, Arey Baba, why don't you agree? We are under so much pressure and we are being threatened by Ravan so many times. If you agree to Ravan's proposal, then we'll also become free. Mm. And one time Ravan brought the false heads of Ram and Lakshman cut off and said, now Ram and Lakshman are killed. Now at least you agree. In this way, Ravan was trying different ways. So around 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, Ravan had not slept only. He did not wake up for Mangalarti, but he had not slept and in completely drunken condition, he again came to threaten Sita in the middle of the night. Hmm. Can you imagine the position of Sita Devi? She's all alone, away from her husband, kidnapped by somebody, and 2:30 in the night, 3 o'clock in the night, suddenly in a drunken condition, he will come and he'll threaten. So this time, in the presence of Hanumanji, Hanumanji is up. Ravan comes and says, why don't you say yes to me? And then he says, if you don't say yes to me very soon, if I cannot enjoy you in one way, I will cut you and I'll eat you up. If I cannot enjoy you in this way, at least I'll enjoy you in that way. Hmm. And Hanumanji is hearing all that. And Sita Devi is constantly crying. She is in deep pain. Hanumanji gets a thought that let me just jump right now and kill all these Rakshasas and kill Ravan right now. So this is the last obstacle that we're going to discuss. Impulsive nature, non-thoughtful, strategic nature. But again, Hanumanji conquers this last obstacle within his heart and says, if I suddenly jump, I don't know what effect it will have on Sita Devi. Maybe because of her weak condition, emotionally she is weak, physically she is weak, and she's almost hopeless because what is the chances that Ram can cross over that big ocean and come to rescue Sita Devi? He does not even know where she is. So she's thinking, does he even know that I'm here? There is no contact, there is no message. So if Hanumanji suddenly jumps in front of her, there is we don't know what will happen. Maybe she'll collapse. Maybe she will die. Maybe she will hurt herself. Maybe she will think, I don't know what's happening here. So Hanumanji restrains himself, although his hands are itching to kill the Rakshasis and Ravan, and he keeps quiet. And then Ravan exits, the Rakshasis exit, and Hanumanji, in a very calm way, thinks to himself, what is the right way to go in front of Sita Devi? So he thinks, if I go there and I start glorifying Ram, I think that is one thing that Ravan will never do. That is one thing that Ravan will never do. So now decided, hmm, I will glorify Ram. But how I will glorify Ram? So it is mentioned, if I glorify Ram in Sanskrit, then because Ravan was expert in Sanskrit language also, well educated. So I'll not glorify Ram in Sanskrit. He decides that I will glorify Ram in the local language of Ayodhya. It is called Awadha. Awadh ki bhasha mein. So he starts glorifying Lord Ramchandra. He starts speaking how Ram and Sita married and all that. And Sita Devi is hearing in Awadh ki bhasha mein. So that bhasha is available on, like Braj bhasha is available only in Braj. Awadh bhasha is available only in Ayodhya. And Hanumanji speaks all that. And Sita Devi understands there is somebody here whom I cannot see, but that somebody is a well wisher. And then he jumps down, and there's a beautiful song that is famous in North India. Janani mein Ram Doot Hanuman, Janani mein Ram Doot Hanuman. He says, my dear Mother Sita, I am Hanuman, I have come with the message. Oh, Lord Ram, he gives that ring and everything. So the mission started with Jambavan telling him, and the mission ended with he actually meeting Sita Devi and giving her the message. And then afterwards, there are extra things that Hanumanji did, but the mission stops here. So, from the start of the mission to the end of the mission, there were seven different obstacles that came in the life of Hanumanji, and in our life also they came. The first obstacle was the limitless ocean. The second obstacle was Mainak Parvat. The third obstacle was Surasa. The fourth obstacle was Simhika. The next obstacle was Lankini. The next obstacle was, you know, the negative thinking that I don't think I can conquer this whole city. The next obstacle was self doubt and guilt that I think I'm doing something which I should not do. And the last obstacle was impulsive nature. And all of these obstacles at different situations can come into a sadhaka's life. And whenever you face these obstacles, you should always remember the example of Hanumanji. And when you cross over these obstacles using the strategies that Hanumanji used, then there is a chance that one day we will get Bhakti Devi or Sita Devi. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.